right, I am that career coach, and today we are bringing stability to insecurity and driving forward career progression. Today I am doing a live Q&A with my followers. So I will be live streaming to Instagram and also posting on my YouTube channel for you guys to go back and watch after the fact. So as always, this time for Q&A, it's an opportunity for you guys. Ask whatever questions that you have, what you need help with at work, navigating interpersonal conflicts, trying to figure out where to take your career, any questions that you guys ask, and we will jump in and talk about it. Something exciting coming to the channel here in the next couple of weeks is I just had an amazing call with Michael Steiner, the executive leadership coach, and that is going to be going up on my podcast week after next, as well as on my YouTube channel. So definitely tune back in to check those out because it was like the greatest conversation and tons of good, meaty tips for people who are executive leaders or who are aspiring executive leaders. So keep that on your calendars. That'll be coming your way soon. But ask whatever questions that you guys want. If you type them in the comments, I will respond, or you can put them in the Q&A section. Either way works for me. Something that a lot of people have been asking me lately is how to respond when you don't agree with your year-end performance review. It's that time of year, managers are giving their feedback, and as an employee, we tend to think pretty highly of ourselves and the work that we're delivering. So what do you do if your year-end review does not match your expectation? So quick qualifier is there's a big difference between it not meeting your expectation and it not matching what your leader told you it would be, all right? We're not really gonna talk about the latter where your manager did a bait and switch. We could probably talk about that and have like a whole episode just on that topic. But instead, we're gonna focus specifically on what to do in the situation where you expect a certain level on your year-end review, but you don't get it. So the first thing is don't argue. It's really, really tempting, especially if you don't agree, to say, well, I understand where you're coming from, but I just don't agree with that. In my perspective, here are the 92 things that happened, and this is why that wasn't possible, and your expectations are unrealistic. Like, we all want to do that. But in the end, it's not gonna change your rating in the system, and it's not gonna improve your relationship with your manager or your career progression faster. So instead, don't have the conversation right at that moment. Digest the feedback, understand what it is that they're saying you did or did not do. Take that away. And then you're gonna have a follow-up targeted conversation. Hey, I've had some time to kind of think about it, and I appreciate everything that you wrote in my year-end review. I definitely wanna progress my career and I wanna end with a better rating this year. You had mentioned this. I'd love to talk through what you'd like to see from me this year in order to prevent that coming up again. What type of action should I be taking? This will show a willingness to change your behavior in alignment with their expectations, which will leave a much better reputation and relationship between you and your boss. But also in the end, you have to have your manager on your side to progress your career. If you're working with a manager that doesn't like you or that you can't get along with, you're gonna have to change jobs either way. And so the only good outcome of your year-end review is creating a strong plan for how you're going to move forward. Otherwise, you'll just end up stuck or in the same position next year. All right, couple questions in the Q&A. So the first one is talking about 90-day reviews. So a 90-day review when you join a company should be on a couple different fronts if you are looking to grow and develop and stay with them. So the first thing is you should deliver something in your first 90 days. You should deliver something in your first 90 days. Even if it's something small, you need something tangible. This is whether you have a 90-day review or not. The other thing in your 90-day review is you should make it very clear what resources you have not been given or not had access to. All right, so this could be, I was never formally trained on this system. It'd be really great if I could have some side-by-side help with that. It could be, hey, this project that you'd mentioned wanting me to take over in the interview, I haven't really had the exposure. What's the plan to get me up to speed? Make sure that you're asking for what you need at that point in time. And then you're also soliciting feedback from your manager. Right? Solicit that feedback both on your competencies, but also what you've been able to deliver so far so that you can make sure your expectations, the way that you're starting out, are the same. All right, another question is, I constantly land in toxic jobs. How can I change that? Keeping in mind there's a recession and companies in my country seem to be becoming more and more toxic. So part of this is probably not your fault, right? Sometimes, no matter our due diligence or the effort that we make, you can end up in a position that's not exactly the right fit for you. It happens. What I would say is you should be very targeted with what types of opportunities you're looking for and what you're expecting from your manager and your company, right? So I've talked about this on other lives. You need to understand what skills you have and why they're valuable to an organization. And then you need to take jobs where those skills are going to be valued. If you don't do those two things, what ends up happening is you may bring a great skill set, but if it isn't valued by the manager or the company, you're going to end up in a really bad position where you're not able to be successful. So focus first on matching your skills to the company. The second thing is, in the interview, ask so many questions, right? What's your management style? Managers set the tone for culture within their teams. You want to understand what you're getting yourself into. What's your management style? How do you progress and grow your employees? How do you like to interact with your team? What does the collaboration look like? And then also ask, what makes somebody successful in this company or in this role? That will give you the kind of not on the job rec answer about what's going to help you really progress your career in this space. Companies that are toxic will generally say, just a really good attitude, or somebody who's willing to work until they get the job done, or, flexible with their hours of availability. Like, those are all not great answers. What makes somebody successful in this role should be something that you can achieve and that you feel comfortable with within your space. If you don't get good answers to those in the interview, it's probably not the right fit job. The other thing that I would say, and this is a big miss in a lot of interviews, is you should ask to speak to your peers on the team. Your peer is going to tell you everything. Hey, this place sucks. Save yourself. Like, they tend to filter a lot less. So where you can, talking to somebody who's going to work on the team with you will give you a lot better insights into what the team's culture is really like, rather than just the recruiter and the hiring manager. How to build confidence in a meeting. So some of this is really practice. Some of this is practice. So in a meeting, you should be speaking up on every call. Even if that's just to make small chat at the beginning, even if that's just to contribute to a situation that is impactful in your space, maybe it's just to offer your opinion on a potential solution, but you should speak up on every call. Additionally to that, I find that having your camera on, especially if it's a conversation with people who are labeled what we call the influencers, right? They are your boss, they are a senior higher up, they are somebody who has a lot of influence over your career or your success within the company. Camera should be on, all right? Even if it's not a company standard, all right? And I know that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but in the office, you'd have to be in front of them anyways. So it's gonna make the persona and the brand that you build that much stronger. Additionally, when you're in meetings and you want to be confident, it's important to know what's expected of you in the call ahead of time. So something that I talk about a lot with my clients, especially those who struggle with social anxiety or difficulty speaking up in meetings, is requesting an agenda ahead of time or creating an agenda if it's your meeting. That will let you know what value you're going to bring to the call so that you can prepare ahead of time. And then on the call, you have valuable information to share. That'll make speaking up easier. It'll also make interacting with the people on the call much more effective. Create an agenda or request an agenda, speak up on every call, have your camera on, and then just talk about what you know. You don't have to talk just for the sake of talking. I know some people do, I do. But just offer up information that you know and you feel confident about, and that confidence will come through. My manager changed 3 weeks after I joined how to communicate that I wish to go for a supervisor role, but my new manager is a first-time manager and has a different goal from me. So if you have goals to progress your career, you should always be having that conversation openly with your boss. Hey, my objective is to get to the supervisor role. I'd love to understand what the differences are between my current job and that opportunity, and what competencies and deliverables you need to see from me in order for me to get that promotion. You should be having that conversation, be prepared. If you end up in a position where your manager is not supportive of that growth and you haven't been with the company for a very long time, try to find the right way to there's two different paths here. So one, you could do an internal transfer if there's another role that you think is a better fit with a better manager. But more importantly, and what most people do is the second, which is you're gonna build your tree of networking. All right. So this is not just your one-on-one relationship with your manager, but you want to build a relationship with their peers. You want to build a relationship with your skip level, and you want to build a relationship with your peers, right? So you should be building relationships with other supervisors, with other managers, with your skip level.